My guest really needs no introduction. He's the father of Devoxx Poland, Grzegorz Duda. Which one of your projects is your favorite? What is the difference between Devoxx and Beyond, for example? How do you choose the speakers? Let's mention the countries, Belgium, France, UK, Morocco, Poland, of course.
Ukraine, and there was one edition of Devoxx USA as well. So every year we get around 500 proposals, and out of them we select around 60. I like organizing conferences.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Dejan Tanasov and I'm Infopulse's communication manager. I am pleased to announce that the second edition of our YouTube project Pulse Time has arrived with brand new topics of discussion and experts from all over Europe. We're going to dive deep into the IT sphere and grow our community together. Please enjoy our interviews, stay tuned and subscribe. Today, we're going to talk about the Polish IT community, conferences and the importance of public speaking. My guest on the first show of this year's Pulse Time project really needs no introduction. He's the father of Devoxx Poland, Vox Days Vienna, Developers World, Club Prelegenta, and the list goes on. It's my absolute pleasure, and without further ado, I would like to introduce Grzegorz Duda. Grzegorz, thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for making the time and coming here because, you know, I just mentioned that's the top of the iceberg when it comes to your activities. The list goes on and on. So my first question is, when do you sleep? And do you have time to sleep as a whole?
I try to sleep during the night.
During the night or on the
that's
train?
That's the best place, yeah, best time. And on the train, whenever you want.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here. I'm sure that we're going to have a great conversation and hopefully we're going to bring some value to everyone who is interested on this when it comes to this IT world, conferences, Java, and we're going to have a great chat.
I will try to share my knowledge as much as...
And I'll try to do my best as well. So what we have here is some kind of a lottery-like game. As you see, colorful bowls filled with, every bowl has a question inside. We're going to shuffle, we're going to pick a question, give it to me. I read it, and then we're going to have a discussion on the topic. All right, should we begin?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's shuffle them a little bit. And one more, 3 for good luck. And the honor is yours.
Okay, so let's start with one.
Whichever you want. Thank you. So, our first question for Grzegorz is, which one of your projects is your favorite and why?
Most of my projects are conferences, but Beyond Code is my special one. We tried to organize it before the COVID. We had all lineup of speakers agreed, and the COVID started, so we need to postpone, and the first edition was last year.
Last year. As I mentioned earlier, you were the father of Devoxx Poland, officially started in 2014-15, if I'm not mistaken. What is the difference between Devoxx and Beyond, for example, Beyond Conference?
So Devoxx Conference is mostly for the people who like to get up to speed with the latest and newest technology, frameworks, tools that developers are using. Beyond Code is more for IT people, but we talk about everything that IT people or developers want to talk about, but it's not about code.
It's not about code.
So we talk about the, I don't know, many soft skills, survival, parachuting.
Is it on an international level, Beyond Code? Or just in Poland?
It's half Polish, half international. Last year we had 3 speakers who speak English, but most of the participants were from Poland.
And Vox Days as well, you were heavily involved in Vox Days Vienna.
Yes.
Which is obviously under the same, they're all in the same family, Devoxx and Vox Days.
Yes, so it's the same idea behind the conferences, Devoxx conference and Vox. Vox is just smaller edition of Devoxx. You can think about it like a
because Devoxx developed so much, you had to...
The idea for Devoxx is that it has to be at least 1,000 people that participants, but when Stefan, the father of all Devoxxes, the grandfather, let's say, from Devoxx Belgium, when he started Devoxx in Belgium, and then in France, UK, and we joined as well in Poland.
And let's mention the countries: Belgium, France, UK, Morocco, Poland, of course.
Yes. Ukraine, and there was one edition of Devoxx USA as well.
Yeah.
And this year was first edition of the Devoxx Greece as well. Oh, that's the story, that how Voxx and Devoxx connect each other. Because when Stefan spread the idea about Devoxx conferences over the Europe and not only Europe, there was many places and many people who want to do the Devoxx in their city. Yeah. But there was no, Stefan didn't know if it will be enough people who would like to attend. I mean, starting conference from scratch and having 1,000 people, it's hard thing to do. For sure. So then Stefan and Mark Heiser from Devoxx UK came up with the idea of Voxx conferences, which is smaller edition of Devoxx, and that's how started Voxx Thessaloniki and Voxx Athens. Yes, and Voxx Athens grew so big that last year they rebrand from Voxx to Devoxx Greece. So
annually,
success story.
It's for sure. You started the Devoxx initially started 2001, and you've developed so much. Annually, I think now more than 15,000 people attend the conferences. We're gonna
overall, probably, yes.
Yeah, and a little bit later we're gonna dive a little bit deeper also into Devoxx for kids. More than 8,000 children experience learning Java, and so when it comes to this world of conferences, I think
there's a lot of things to talk about.
For sure. Should we move on with the next one?
Sure.
Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
Close. Oh, fun. Let's keep the variety. Okay. Well, hopefully blue is not a... It's a soft color, maybe, so it's a soft question, we'll see. Did you personally have to improve something in your public speaking, and have you had any fails when it comes to your public speaking?
Yes. So every year when Devoxx Poland came to I need to open the conference, I need to come up on the stage in front of 2,500 people, so it's a lot of people that are watching too. And every year I thought I need to prepare my presentation up front to be ready, to be fluent on stage and so on. But every year there is so much thing to do around Devoxx that I failed preparing it, and usually a day before I prepare the presentation for the opening and I go with the flow on the stage. So basically,
is there still stage fright with you? Like, are you still nervous? Do you get the so-called butterflies before you go on?
Yes, every time.
Every time.
For Devoxx, maybe not, because I'm too tired to be nervous. But whenever I try to regular conference speaking, like an hour talk here and there, there is a lot of nervous. You cannot get used to this. At least I cannot do it.
You cannot do it.
Yes.
Can you share some, let's say, techniques how to get over stage fright, or how to prepare mentally for a conference or speaking in front of, in your case, thousands of people? Everyone who's in the beginning stage starts speaking from 20, 30 people, and at one point, 1,000 people. How do you manage, let's say, this fear?
Yeah, I mean, you need to start with the... I wouldn't propose to start at Devoxx because speaking at 2,000 people is a bit too much. So usually what I propose to people is start at the local Java user group or other technology user groups. When you know people, or at your work, when you know the people that will be listening to you, so it's much easier to talk to them because you talk to friends, let's say, or colleagues. That's much easier than going on stage on the public conference. For sure. And the second tip might be that you should choose the topic that you are very interested in. That's you like the idea,
you know
like
in depth about it.
Yes, so it's easier to you to just talk. For sure. Even if you don't remember what you have to say, you just talk and it came up out of you naturally. And before the talk, there are some techniques like breathing out and breathing in and so on, but for me, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
You need to be nervous. The only technique that works for me is that you remember by heart the first 5 sentences. Okay. So if you are nervous, you don't think that you forget something, you just start talking with what you...
For sure. Another one? Should we move on?
Sure.
Let's do that. Let's go with white. Let's see what the white bow has in store for us.
Please be nice for me.
How do you deal with negative feedback / criticism from your projects, conferences, podcasts, trainings? Oh, I guess obviously you cannot please everybody. There's always going to be someone who's going to be dissatisfied, disappointed, haters, let's say. How do you manage that mentally and professionally?
I mean, first of all, you need to listen, right? Because sometimes the negative feedback is very valuable for you to improve, but you cannot implement every
suggestion,
suggestion or criticism from the people, because there are not one person that we are doing something for, but many more people. So you need to listen and go through it and think if it is really if it is something that will improve your product or project or not. The funny thing is, for 2 years ago,
an
example, the coffee.
Okay.
During the DevConf conference, one of our co-organizers, because I'm organizing the DevConf conference with 2 other people, was really coffee liker or lover. So
coffee addict.
He ordered the coffee from the very nice coffee shop in Kraków. But there were some mistakes during the conference, and we ordered another coffee from different suppliers. So we had 2 different coffee stands at all prepared by barista. So all made from the fresh
natural grains and stuff.
From grains. And after the conference, we sent asking form for the feedback to the participants and asking definitely about the coffee. And half people said that this one was better, and half people said this one was better.
And so, because you listen to the coffee enthusiast?
Yeah, I mean, so there's always people who like this coffee better and this one. So whenever you listen to people, it's just opinion of one person. So
that's a great
basically,
analogy.
if it comes more than once, probably that's something you need to look into. But if it's just once, you need to think if it's something that you would like to implement or not. And basically, people, especially in Poland, are more willing to complain about something than saying good things about what you are doing. So probably you cannot go into all this criticism, because probably for one criticism there is 100 people who likes what you are doing. So
how do you choose the speakers? What qualities are you looking for when it comes to the speakers?
So a mix of, I would say, 3 things. One is the expertise. So, for example, the speaker needs to have deep expertise in the
on the matter. Subject.
Second is if he's good at public speaking. I mean, he can go on stage and pass the information to speakers. And the third thing, which is also important for conference, which takes like 3 days, like Devoxx, for example, is if he can be kind of a bit of comedian, let's say. Yeah. So if he can introduce into the speech some kind of jokes and some kind of things that makes the presentation more
attractive, funny,
and people will remember the topic for a longer time than just one day.
That's a combination, a good combination, which it's
probably there is more, but
for sure, a great combination which not everybody has, but it for sure can be developed.
Yes.
That's, I think, the most important thing that we can take out of this.
Some yes, some no, because I'm not good comedian at all.
Oh, me as well. Public speaking can be a challenge for so many people.
It's very intense experience, I would say. If you go on stage and need to, because dev is something that comes to you, right?
Yeah.
And public speaking is something that you push yourself towards it. So probably that might be something that makes the difference between dev and public speaking, because you can avoid public speaking, but you cannot, at least current knowledge is that you cannot avoid dev.
Covering the topic of philosophy now with deep topics. Hopefully some of our listeners may be philosophers, why not? So, the people who watch. Hello guys, I have a special task for the most loyal post-time viewers. I need you to count how many times has our brand name, Infopulse, been mentioned during the whole 2nd season. Whoever gets this right will receive a special secret box from me at the end of the year. Wow, well, we have to cover this. It's such a trend nowadays in the 21st century especially. Do you believe and think that AI can replace IT specialists, or can it help them? What is the influence of AI? We're all familiar with ChatGPT, its effects. and AI is a phenomenon which, many different opinions and topics on the matter. It can be detrimental or it can be helpful. Can you control it? Can you not control it? Can it contribute to your business, but at the same time eliminate many other positions? The number one topic of discussion. What do you think when it comes to the IT industry?
So the short answer is probably the second one. So it will help developers, not replace them. I mean, we can compare it to the IDE in the environment that you write the code, like code editor, right?
Okay.
In the past, every letter you need to press. Right now, the like IntelliJ IDEA, for example, in Java Word can generate part of the code, let's say boilerplate code. And you don't need to write it by yourself. So probably the same might be with the OpenAI and GitHub Copilot and other tools that generates a bit longer part of codes, but still you need to have a person who check if the code is correct. So I don't believe that AI will be able to create the whole program by herself, whatever.
It would all. The human aspect is
AI?
The thing that cannot, I think, be.
Yeah. I mean, it's good because right now there is still not enough people in IT, and the demand is much larger. So AI will probably fill this gap for some reason. For some people, but less people will be needed, and mostly less people like junior developers maybe had a problem with that, because in the past junior developers were used to write easy code, and right now this easy code might be written by the AI, or test can generate it by the AI and so on. So probably it will be harder to get into IT right now, into development right now, or in the future than it was like 5 years or 2 years ago.
How can you change that? I mean, if you don't need junior developers, let's say, if you can replace them, how can you enter the industry, the business? Can it be done?
You need to learn more.
You need to learn more. Just learn more.
You need to have more skills and knowledge than right now, because right now, if you know how to code in Java, probably you will get a job as a junior developer. But in 5 years from now, 2 years from now, probably you need to know more tools, more techniques, maybe some kind of domain knowledge. So, for example, if you are writing code for the, I don't know, for medical solutions, you need to know how it works and so on. So not only the technical skills, but also soft skills, how we call it, and also communication. It will be probably the one of the biggest skills that will make a change for people. Yeah, especially you need to communicate with other developers, and you need to communicate with the AI as well. So,
I guess today is a day for quotes. I guess in my head, but when you said communication, that it's going to be a fundamental skill to develop nowadays and in the future. I think Warren Buffett was the one who said that if you're able to develop your communication skills, you're going to be able to, and also your public speaking, you're going to be able to earn 50% more in your lifetime when it comes to finances. So
that's probably true. I mean, if Warren Buffett said it.
Who are we to question Warren Buffett? I think that when it comes to the influence of AI on society, yes, as you mentioned, there are some minuses, there are a lot of pluses, but one thing that cannot be denied is that I think we live in a so-called information society. So as you mentioned, you have every tool out there to learn. You have it. You can search for it. It's much more accessible, affordable. So maybe you can adapt easier at the same. Yes, it becomes harder with AI maybe, but it's also easier for you to gather the information and to adapt it towards.
And AI can help you to learn something
AI can help you to learn. Okay, so we have 4 colors thus far, and we're gonna start to repeat the colors. Okay. Do you have a favorite color from the one I said?
No. Choose blindly.
Let's do it.
This one.
The color of energy, green, and there it is. So, what do you think? What is gonna be? Philosophical question, maybe? Or
probably.
How the idea came to create podcasts? Podcasts.
Yeah, long time ago. when I start attending conferences, there was a Java Posty, very famous podcast in the Java world, and I like the vibe between the people. There was 4 guys talking about Java news in a very informal way. So I like how they communicate, how they create the vibe during the podcast and so on. So I tried to do something in Poland, something similar, but it was very early stage, and probably we recorded, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 episodes, and then we published episode from the next episode. We're recording from the, I call it couloir unconference, so something different. So basically, idea behind the unconferences is that there is no regular schedule of the conference, but you go to the conference, and first thing that you do during the conference, you put you write down on a paper what topics you would like to discuss.
Okay.
And then you gather the ideas and select discussion topics at the table. So people who would like to talk about, I don't know, communication skills or presentation skills, gather in around our one table and discuss about communication skills. So basically, there is no presenter, there is no agenda. It's just go with the flow.
Beautiful chaos.
Yeah, beautiful chaos, and the discussion is very informative, I would say, because not one person is talking to 100 people, but 10 people are exchanging their own ideas, their own knowledge. So you learn a lot, and some of these talks we recorded and published as a podcast as well. Basically, the idea was, when I saw the Java Posty podcast and want to be the same, but I was too young probably to be the same as they were, and after a couple episodes we just closed the idea.
Okay. Any favorite topics that you remember that stick out in your head when it comes to podcasts? Something that you discussed which you remember like really fondly?
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, a long time ago.
Well, I'm guessing every topic was interesting.
Probably yes. Recently I had second try to do it, but video vlogs. I tried to, with Sebastian Rabi from Wrocław, we tried to record Java news on YouTube, but we also stop because it's very time consuming, I would say. To prepare, we try to record every week or every 2 weeks, and the amount of time you need to spend to research what's happening right now and prepare the recording and post-production and so on.
And I'm guessing with all your other endeavors, you have time management, it's crucial for you.
For everybody.
And let's not forget that you're also the chief editor of Java Express, the first e-magazine about Java in Poland.
Yes.
So that's a lot of things.
That was also like 20 years ago.
Yeah, but... And now it's time for our secret question from our Java experts for Grzegorz.
My name is Roman. I'm Java developer at Infopulse. So, I have a question. Should a Java developer learn JVM-based languages?
Okay, so basically any knowledge that you get is important for your career, for sure. I wouldn't say Scala or Kotlin or any other language, but whenever it is JVM language, or even better if you learn some language that is not JVM related, like go outside of the box that you are right now inside to see the different approaches to programming, different techniques. So that's probably something worth exploring, but it's not must-have for sure. But I would like to say that if you are mid developer or senior developers, you need to go as much as possible outside of your safe zone. Let's say if you know Java very well, go to learn, for example, Kotlin or Scala or Go language, or I don't know, .NET language, and see what people inside this environment are doing, how they are coding, what techniques they are using, what approaches, and so on. And if you are talking about JVM itself, and if you know Java, probably I would look at some languages that are functional languages. So for example, Scala is a good example, and other functional languages to just widen your expertise.
Broaden the horizon. I think you answered rather our to our Java experts. I hope that they got the point, and thank you for sharing.
Any learning is good.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shuffle. Considering your vast experience when it comes to international conferences, What are the differences in the IT communities in every country when it comes to organizing a conference?
Organizing or attending conferences?
Attending, organizing, like what? Everything combined.
So attending, every country is different, right? People from Poland are more, so we go to Italy, for example, everybody are clapping, asking questions and so on. In Poland, it takes some time for people from Poland to ask questions to the speakers. So they are more reserved, let's say. But to be honest, right now, for example, Devoxx, we had like 70% people from Poland and 30% people from outside of the Poland. So it's a bit of mix of different nationalities. So if you go to Belgium or UK, probably it's the same. That's a mix of nationalities. So probably there is not much differences when you are attending the conference. But for organizing, that's different because I know Poland and I know how to operate in Poland, and I did Vox Vienna and Vox Berlin, for example. So I saw many differences how you work with people, for example, in Germany, and how you work with people in Austria as well. So I'm
also
Pole,
cultural differences.
Yes, I'm Pole, so it's easier for me to talk to people in Poland than in Germany or Austria. But there are differences.
For sure.
I don't want to go deep into that, but I stopped doing the conference in Berlin, mostly because it's logistically very hard to do conference outside of your country, and without local support, it's hard to do it. I did Vienna for 3 or 4 years probably in a row, and then I decided to stop doing it, mostly because it's logistically time consuming and difficult to bring everything, whole teams from Poland to Vienna, and I focus on conferences in Poland. There is still much space to do and many conferences that
which city, let's say, of course, Warsaw as a capital, Krakow. What other cities can you mention where they're really making a strong push to host conferences like Devoxx, Vox Days?
And Krakow was not natural for me for Devoxx because I was born in Krakow and I lived in Krakow. So Krakow is one of the biggest IT hubs in Poland, so it was very natural to me to start conferences in Poland. Warsaw is second city. The other cities that are very strong in IT communities, Wrocław. It's like growing. I compare Wrocław like Krakow 5 years ago.
Okay.
It's growing so fast, and also Łódź is is pushing a lot to get IT presence in the city. So that's what we did for the DevConf conference. It used to be conference in Krakow, but last year the city representatives asked if we will be willing to move conference to Łódź.
Okay.
And we did some due diligence.
The city representatives of Krakow?
Of Łódź.
Of Łódź, okay.
Yes. They want to have the IT conference in Łódź, and instead of creating one from the scratch, they asked to bring DevConf conference to Łódź.
Yeah.
And we think through, it was time after COVID when we had a 2 years break. So we thought, let's try how it will work. And we see a lot of push in Łódź from the city representatives and from the companies as well that would like to have a strong presence in Łódź.
You mentioned the pandemic, obviously, a huge effect on the world economy. And I have to ask, it's just when you're involved in organizing conferences, it must have affected you drastically.
Definitely. I mean, many companies did online conferences, but I didn't want to do it, didn't want to do Devoxx as online conference, because conference for me was always the first thing that I think about conference, going to and meet people. So that's the biggest advantage of having conference. Just you have your spare time, you are not working during this time, and you go and see your friends, you talk to speakers, you talk to colleagues and exchange ideas. That was the idea behind the conference. So during the COVID, I made decision to not do the online conference, so we missed 2020.
So you decided not to do an online version?
So the whole year I tried to do different things online, which I'm very bad at. I tried online courses and different things, and I learned during this time that I'm not the guy who will be online guru. And thankfully, in 2021, we were able to do hybrid conference. So we had people on site attending regular conference, and we also stream online to those who wouldn't like to join big gathering of people because there was still time of COVID. Yes, so it impacted a lot. I mean, we missed 1 year, and the second year was like different experience because instead of 2,700 people as it was before the COVID, we had 700 people on site and 900 online. So it's a bit different experience. Hi guys, I had a couple of questions today that I answered, but I have one more question just for you. Who is the most frequent speaker at Devoxx Poland, and how many times did he presented at Devoxx Poland? And the first person who will get it correctly will get a free ticket for Devoxx Poland or DevConf. Thank you very much and see you soon.
Okay, Grzegorz, let's move on with the next question.
Sure.
Let's see what we have. What the balls of fate have in store for us. Let's see what we have. You are the owner and organizer of a series of successful conferences in Poland, such as Devoxx, DevConf, Beyond Code, and etc. Are these conferences more of a business project or passion? And who helps you select speakers for the conferences? We kind of covered it already, but let's,
To be honest, it's more like, it started as a passion. When I started 33rd degree, the pure Devoxx conference, it was purely passion. To have it long lasting, you need to have money in mind somehow. If you don't have like very rich father who would like to pay millions of Polish zloty for your passion, you need to find a way to finance it. So at some point you need to make sure that those passion brings money as well. And especially when you are at the point when you need to resign from your regular job, like I did 15 years ago or something like that, you need to make a decision to leave your daily job. You need to find a way to have some money to live.
Which is a steady income, let's say, but you took a risk into following what obviously is passionate for you. So
definitely, and you need to have in mind, for example, I mean, nobody had in mind COVID, right? But if you are organizing conference, it happens that sometimes there is COVID, sometimes there are, I don't know, reduction in IT industry that will lower the amount of people who would like to attend the conference. So right now it's also business, but I hope it's still a passion for me. Otherwise, I would not do it. Yes, it's too much work. To be honest, every year when the conference days come in, I said it's the very last time I'm organizing the conference. But 3 days after the conference, I'm start thinking about the next one. So it has to be a passion, probably.
I guess it is. Okay, so we touched the subject when it comes to the speakers, but let's maybe take another direction. Do you have an example, let's say, of a speaker who you really wanted to get, it was difficult to get, who you thought would bring tremendous value to the listeners and viewers in Poland, internationally?
I mean, usually I get the speaker I would like to.
Yeah, okay.
If you send enough...
Good persuasive skills, I guess.
Enough emails, you will get the response finally. But there are some speakers that don't speak any longer. They used to speak in the past. There are some speakers I would like to see Devoxx Poland, but basically they don't speak. And they probably have enough money, enough personal brand and other businesses that they don't want to spend a day or two on the conferences. So, but I still keep inviting them. Maybe one day they will change mind. And if you are selecting speakers, there are probably three different streams. One is my personal network.
Okay.
I was at the conference, I meet the speaker, I listen to him, watch his presentation, and invite him to my conference. Second one, sometimes some speaker propose friends that I don't know, but they know they would be good speaker at Devoxx and good fit for Devoxx Poland and other conferences. So they propose and I watch on the YouTube what they talk about, how they talk, and invite them if they fit. Third one is the speakers from the sponsors. So usually in higher sponsor packages, we have also slots for the speakers from the sponsors, but it's less than 10% of the conference. So for Devoxx, if you have around 100 presentation, around 10 of them are, maximum 10 of them are from the sponsors. And the fourth one is for we call it call for papers. So basically we run application that everybody can submit proposal, and you have team of I think 6 people for Devoxx Poland who review them and select the best fit for the conference.
Okay.
So every year we get around 500 proposals, and
500.
out of them we select around 60. It's very hard to go through this.
May I ask how big is your team when it comes to the organization and selection of?
So selection is like 5 people in addition to me. For the organization of Devoxx Poland is just me
Okay.
most of the time, and when the times comes to the conference and during the conference, probably 80% of my closest family is helping me in every aspect. Like my wife, my kids, my brother-in-law, my parents. So it's a family business, let's say. For DevCon, there used to be 3 organizers, but one of them take a break. So right now there are 2 organizers, and one woman is helping us as well on behalf of this 3rd organizer. And Beyond Code is also just me. But most of the time I spend on Devoxx.
On Devoxx, understood. Yeah. I think that you were quite thorough in terms of speakers. It's fascinating how you're able to just imagine the number of people that you have to evaluate and decide whether they're good.
It's hard, especially this year was probably the hardest year to select the speakers, because we had to refuse so many good talks that people came to us and why you refuse my talks, and everything was okay, but basically we didn't have enough space to get one more presentation.
How many speakers do you have per conference?
For Devoxx it's around 100. DevConf is a bit smaller, it's around 50-60 probably.
50, okay. Vox Days?
Vox Days used to be 2 days, 3 tracks, it's around 50 as well.
Understood. Beyond Code?
Beyond Code was smaller because it was 2 days and different format, so probably 15 people maybe, and 2 tracks.
Understood.
So, and most of them were hand-selected, let's say, by invitation. Because for the first year, when you start the conference, you need to let the speaker know that he's welcome and he will have good presentation, good fit for this conference. Then, like after 2-3 years, people have some kind of imagination what the conference is about, and it's easier for speakers to submit something than you need to select them.
You want to shuffle yourself this time?
Let's pick the green one.
Okay, let's do the green one. Finally. Sorry, Greenie. Your time has arrived. Okay. I know that you involve your family in the organization from the first edition of Devoxx. Is it difficult to work with family? Well, you just mentioned that you basically, every member from the family helps. Okay, so let's change the wording in the question a little bit. First, why did you decide to involve family? And second, is it difficult? Do you see any obstacles when it comes to working with family?
Yes.
Yes and yes.
Yes and yes. I mean, in the past we used to have also volunteers, but I'm not big fan of the volunteers because they usually come to the conference, help you a bit, and then spread somewhere. Okay. Hide somewhere in the rooms. Yeah. And it's hard to ask them for help you more. So we try to hire people as well, but for some position you cannot hire people. For example, if you have people at the registration desk, you need to have somebody who is aware what's going on and make some decision on the go. So you need to have somebody who is trustworthy. And that's why I thought that my family will be the best, because they kind of live with me. I share some information with them during the whole year of preparation. They learn what we did last year, how to behave the next year. So it's much easier for them to make the decision that I would like to take personally. Most of the time it's the same decision, so I'm very happy with that. And it's hard because if you have an employer, you can demand something out of him. But if you work with a wife, it's much harder to demand something. Usually it's the other way around. My wife is demanding from myself to why didn't you told me that this person will come on the third day, or why didn't told me that there will be another package arrived in the middle of the conference. So sometimes it's hard because you don't treat them as employers. It's more like partners for the conference. But probably it's much better in long term. It's much better choice than
because of the
volunteers.
trustworthiness.
Yes,
mostly.
yes.
Yeah. So we don't have many colors now when green is gone. So
let's take
blue,
one.
black, and
White.
white.
Try this one.
Okay, you have many projects. We mentioned that several times, running at the same time. A series of conferences, a platform, podcasts, performances, your own company. Where do you get your strength from? When do you sleep? What helps you to find new ideas? How do you stay inspired? How do you stay innovative? How do you stay motivated?
I don't know.
It just happens?
It just happens. I mean, I think that if you have passion for something, you walk on the street and see new ideas. For example, if you buy BMW,
But you have to be open-minded.
yeah, you have to be. But if you buy BMW, for example, you see BMW everywhere on the streets, right?
Yeah.
Before you haven't seen them. So probably the same when you start the conference, something is back in your mind that is still thinking about the conferences. So whenever for example, go shopping with my wife and I see nice T-shirt, for example, that's something, sparks in my mind that maybe we will create similar design for next year for Devoxx Poland. So just when you start doing something and if it's your main job and main passion, it just comes naturally for me. So I have no golden rule how to be innovative, how to be creative. And if it comes to for example, Beyond Code conference, which started last year and was in my mind like 4 years ago, I just missed this kind of conference in Poland. So instead of waiting for somebody else to do it, I try to do it myself. So if you see something is missing on the market, you try to do it yourself and see if it is good fit or not. If it's just you that would like to meet with other people and talk about the survival, parachuting, and soft skills and other communication skills, or it's just there's maybe more people who would like to talk about it as well. So basically, start doing something and then ideas will come.
Generate ideas. While we're on this subject, I have a question coming directly from me. It was very interesting for me when I started reading about Devoxx for kids. Can you elaborate a little bit on that and tell me why do you think it's important to try to motivate children, I believe between the age of 10 and 14, to try to educate them on Java and that they can pursue a career in IT as developers?
I mean, in Poland, even if you have IT class in a primary school, it teaches you, I don't know, Excel, for example. So it's not coding, it's just using the computer itself. So that's how the Devoxx for Kids was born, just to come to the kids and show them in easy way how they can start coding, how they can start learning the basic principles of coding, like if statements or loops or something like that.
Yeah.
And when Devoxx for Kids started, there was not many programs supporting it, but right now there is many tools that you can use, like even Minecraft. Probably everybody knows Minecraft, right? And it's written in Java, right? So it's very easy to write modes in Java in Minecraft, so kids can easily create something, write some code, or even drag and drop some blocks of codes and see it in a game that they are playing every day, right? So it's much easier. There are other tools like Alice and other that helps learning programming, not in a professional way, but creating the structure of the program, just dragging and dropping the blocks of codes, right? So and it's very important because right now, if you are not able to use the computer, you are probably...
It's going to be difficult.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult.
Digitalization.
Yes, you need to know and not only use the computer, but if you can use, for example, ChatGPT, if you cannot use it on a daily basis, probably in 5 years it will be a big disadvantage for you if you cannot use ChatGPT or other AI tools effectively. People who learn how to ask question to ChatGPT will be more productive, let's say. So it's the same with it was the same like 15 years ago with the coding. If you can code, you can do the same task much quicker, much better, and you also start thinking in a different way. And that was the idea of Devoxx for kids, just to learn kids how to think like computer thinks, right? Because it's not the same how people think. You need to learn how to communicate with computer, how to give them instructions to do what you want.
You're trying also to emphasize the importance of soft skills, not only the technical part of the
Yes, also
of the industry.
Yes, communication skills. I mean, right now, as we mentioned before, I mean, the whole technical knowledge is everywhere on YouTube, on podcasts, on books. There's very easily access on ChatGPT, even if you want to summary or something like that. It's very easy to get the knowledge. It's effort to learn something new, and the second is how you will use it. And if you want to use OpenAI, that probably the communication with the computer and know how to communicate, how to ask questions, how to prepare the computer to answer in your desired way, probably will be biggest advantage for people in the future.
Understood. Well, Grzegorz, I believe we covered so much today, but not everything, because the topic is endless. I believe we can talk all day, and it's an absolute pleasure and privilege to speak with you.
Yeah, it was my pleasure to be here and share my expertise, let's say, or whatever I learned during this day.
I'm sure that viewers and listeners enjoyed our conversation. I'm sure that we brought some value. And I got one last question for you, which is, how are you with nature? Especially now in the summertime, do you like hiking, picnicking?
Oh, definitely, yeah? Definitely.
Bring the family out to the wilderness, let's say.
Yes, the more wild nature, the better.
The better,
yeah.
Perfect. So, with that being said, I would like to present you with a small gift.
Wow,
which is
not so small.
It's a way to express my gratitude for being here, for you being here, talking with me, and hopefully we'll see each other soon again. I hope that you will use it, first of all.
Definitely, very nice, very nice.
Whether we're familiar with the beautiful Polish nature, so...
and there is a plant
blanket, so picnicking, wine, beer, whatever you decide. Juice, water.
Water.
Bring the family out. And,
very nice, very nice. Thank you very much. Thank you for this.
Thank you for being here. See you next time.
I really enjoy the discussions, and hopefully we can meet somewhere.
Hopefully in the Devoxx conference.
Yeah, Devoxx, DevConf, whatever.
Absolutely.
Come to any conference in Poland and I will be there.
Thank you, and see you next time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.